Hola y buenos dias. Hello and welcome back. We are still in Spain, as you've probably gathered. Tomorrow is our last day. It's currently 8 o'clock in the morning and it's 30 degrees with a beautiful sunset off to my right. So, today I want to talk about my experience of buying my first camper van. Here we are at the Spanish market. There's all kinds of goods for sale, and the temperature is currently about 37 degrees centigrade, and it's absolutely sweltering. There's not a cloud in the sky, and it is really tiring walking about in these kind of temperatures. So hopefully we will shortly go and get something to drink and maybe a spot of lunch next to the sea. And in which case we'll rejoin you there. Look at all that lovely fruit and veg. So there we are. I'll see you again very soon. In the town of Los Alcatraz, which is on what is known as the Mar Menor, which is Spanish for the Little Sea. Now that divides the mainland, Los Alcatraz, and neighbouring resorts, with La Manga Strip, which you can perhaps just see in the distant background. La Manga is Spanish for the sleeve, and it's a strip of land, as the name suggests, which protrudes out into the Mediterranean and separates the Mar Menor from the Mediterranean Sea, and the home of the world famous La Manga Sports Club, where Premier League footballers and other elite sports people attend for their training. So just to give you a look round at the resort, give you an idea of the location, and there are a few cafes and bars which I hope to be sitting at very shortly. So today I want to talk about my experience of buying my first camper van. This follows on from earlier in the video when I talked about things to consider when viewing your first camper van with a view to purchasing. So just over a year ago is when we decided that we were going to take the plunge and treat ourselves to a camper van. So we started looking in the adverts, and I was reading articles and watching lots of YouTube videos, and every single thing that I watched or read, I learnt something. I built up an idea of what it is that I wanted and what I didn't want, and got an idea of the values of different camper vans, and quickly realised that on our budget all we could afford is kind of an older camper van. And our aim, I know it was like searching for the Holy Grail, our aim was to buy an older, cheaper camper van that was in good condition and low mileage, and about as rare as hen's teeth. So I knew it wouldn't be a quick job. It would take time and it would require patience, and it did. So I wish I'd known half of what I know now, which is my motivation for making these videos, which I hope that you enjoy and benefit from. But let me know either way in the comments. And yes, so that was about a year ago, as I say. And once I'd built up sufficient knowledge and sufficient confidence, we then began looking at vans. We travelled here, there and everywhere, all over the country, because the van I was looking for was a rarity inevitably it involved travelling long distances. We went Brighton, Coventry, Gloucester, Manchester, and the van we eventually bought was in Scotland. We had seen a few that obviously we didn't buy, but not necessarily because they were bad vans, although one or two were. So you have to be very careful and don't always believe what you read in the adverts. But some were very nice vans, but not right for us for one reason or another. But nevertheless, eventually, it was late September, I saw the van we eventually bought advertised on Auto Trader, and it seemed just a ticket really. It was low mileage, it was 18 years old, and looked like it was in really good condition. So I gave the guy a ring, and I asked for more photos. I was able to specify what I wanted photos of. He sent those across, and my wife and I decided that we would travel up at the weekend and view it with the possibility of actually buying it. But then come Wednesday, I think it was, of that week, I just had a funny feeling. I just thought these tend to sell very quickly, and I feared that if we waited till the weekend it'd be too late. Somebody would have beaten us to it. So, very spontaneous decision. I bought myself a train ticket on the Wednesday. My wife was at work that day, and jumped on the train, texted my wife saying I'm on my way to Perth in Scotland. So never a dull moment. And had a lovely train journey up to Perth. I'd booked a hotel near the station, which I stayed in overnight, and arranged for the seller to pick me up from the hotel, which he agreed to do. He then took me out into the sticks, where he was keeping the van, and the minute I saw it, I know this is a mistake, the minute I saw it, I pretty much knew I was going to buy it because it was in such lovely condition. I already knew the mileage, I'd already done the MOT checks, it just had a new MOT on it. But subject to it being as good as it was claimed in the advert and everything working okay, I pretty much knew I was going to buy it. So I looked round. The outside paintwork was in exceptionally good condition. It had old steel wheels, but I knew I could pick up alloy wheels at a reasonable price if I wanted to. The upholstery was very dated, but is in good condition, commensurate with the mileage. It was very basic inside, very little equipment. I knew it was a low spec model. Wind-up windows, no aircon, no cruise, no sat-nav, no electric mirrors, anything like that. It was very basic, which at first was a bit disappointing, but I thought, well, if I had all that, I'd be paying a lot more, so you can't have it both ways. But I thought on the flip side to that, I thought, well, it's kind of fun, it's got a bit of character, it's got a bit of history, and it had an old fashioned Blaupunkt cassette player, which I thought was good. It was in really good condition anyway. So I did all the checks on the outside, and I lifted the pop top, and there were one or two small holes, nothing serious. It had faded quite a bit, but I thought, well, I'm sure I could soon patch those up. But I realised it was such a kind of rare find because I'd been looking for so long, and you get a sense for these things. I think this is probably the one for me. Whilst out on my walk, I've also come across this. It's a Land Rover Discovery. I'm not sure it's a camper van as such, but clearly he's had a lot of work done on it to give it that off-road look, with a huge spare tyre on the back, massive wheels and tyres, raised suspension. Look at the ground clearance on that. Take a lot of stopping, that would. And got the obligatory snorkel on the side, and it's in a very unusual sort of beigey, peachy colour. That's the best I can describe it. I'm not exactly a fashion correspondent, but it looks like it's got a bit of age to it, and it's done a bit of work in its time. So it's quite quite crude in many ways, but that's what appeals to some people. And it's got a towing there and winch, and yeah, that's about it. It's got the got a screen in the window to stop the fierce heat making it too hot inside, although I think that'll probably be a bit futile on a day like today. And he's got a Sahara 2022 badge on the side. I don't know if this has actually been there or it's just for show, I'm not sure, but it looks like it means business either way. So, and it's again locally registered in Mercia, so let us know what you think of that. And here we are. It's our last day on the beach today, and I've literally pushed the boat out and we're enjoying a lovely cruise up and down the Bay of Campervan, and we're heading towards Cabo Roig. The sea's a little bit choppier than I would have liked, but hey, you can't have everything. And I'll just give you a view of the area, and it's now 6:15 in the evening, and we're enjoying the evening sunshine. It's still about 30 degrees, and my wife is skippering the ship while I do some filming. So I hope you're enjoying the video. I'm certainly having the time of my life, and I really don't want to come home, but tomorrow we'll have our last day, have a lazy day by the pool before packing and getting ready to come home early Thursday morning. But it just shows, in the true spirit of Can't Afford Here, you don't need to be a millionaire to enjoy life's luxuries. It's simply €80, which in the scheme of things is not a fortune, to enjoy a ride on a very nice boat in the lovely sunshine and warm temperatures, chugging along the Mediterranean Sea. So that's it for now, and I'll do some more filming later. Hello again, we're back safe and sound on the beach after a lovely boat ride, and we're just enjoying the rest of the evening on the beach. It's so quiet and peaceful. Most people have now gone home, but the sky is blue, no clouds in the sky whatsoever, and it's so quiet and peaceful, and we're just relaxing, reading a book and making the most of our last day on the beach. The sun is beginning to set, and what's been a glorious day, and we're shortly going to get something to eat. I realised it was such a kind of rare find because I'd been looking for so long, and you get a sense for these things. I think this is probably the one for me. There wasn't really anything in the way of extras. I managed to persuade him to leave the levelling ramps and the hookup cable, but other than that, there was nothing. No porta potty, no awning, all those little bits of extras that are handy and can be expensive if you have to buy them afterwards. I did have a test drive, and the test drive was the van was much better than I anticipated. It went really well. 1.9 turbo diesel, 102 horsepower, which is more than adequate for our needs. I don't think I need 150 or 200 horsepower model. More than adequate for our needs. It's quite perky, quite lively, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be doing any racing in it, are you? So tested the brakes, they were fine, the steering was fine, the gearbox was fine. I came back really impressed, and yeah, that's when we did the deal. And I made him an offer which he initially turned down, and we did what you do and settled in the middle, which was a little bit under the asking price. And then I did after checking all the paperwork, and it wasn't a full service history, and he wasn't able to say when the cam belt was last changed either. So that was in the back of your mind. As long as you're aware of these things and you factor them into your calculations, it's not a big deal. You'll never get the perfect van, especially if your budget's at the bottom end like ours was. You always have to sort of make compromises, really. So it was then a question, we'd agreed the fee, it was then a question of transferring the money. So after handing over the money, I drove it home, 300 and odd miles, and it took me 5 and a bit hours, if I remember rightly, but I had no problems with it on the way home. Did virtually 40 to the gallon, so I came back really pleased with myself. The one thing I didn't do, and I kicked myself, but it didn't make any difference as it turns out, was do an HPI check. It's certainly worthwhile if you're buying privately. I think the basic one is about a tenner, or more advanced one's about 25 quid if I remember rightly, but it's in the scheme of things, it's a small amount of money compared to what you could lose. So that was my experience with the van, and I think I was very lucky in a lot of ways, but also I think my patience and diligence paid off, even though when I look back I was very naive. So hopefully these series of videos can put you in a better position, and you'll have learnt a little bit from my experience, and it will give you the confidence for when you go out and buy your first van. But if there was one word that I would advise, it is patience, because you're only going to buy one probably, so make sure it's the right one, and if you can't find the right one, then wait, play the waiting game, and if you're diligent and keep your eye on things, it will surely turn up. It'll have your name on it. So that's it for now. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed my holiday in Spain, even though I've missed my van. But the next video will be all about purchasing, the purchase cost of the van, and then everything that I've spent on it, and I'll come up with a grand total. And so I hope you can join us for that. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and comment and give us some feedback, and I'll see you next time. So from Spain, it's adios amigos. Gracias. Well, here we are at Alicante Airport, waiting for the call to board the plane. It marks the end of our holiday. Looks like we've probably picked the right day to go home, as it's quite overcast and cloudy today, but it's still 30 plus degrees. But thankfully the airport has air conditioning, so in just a few hours we'll be home again. It's always nice to get home, but I'm still very sad to be leaving. We've had a fabulous time, and I'll make another video when we get home. But thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.